Well, hello, everybody. It is Sunday. It is Sunday Live with me, Jason Moore, and we are going to answer all your questions. We're going to get them all right today. That's what I realized recently was like fantasy football would be a whole lot more fun if we got everything right. So we're just going to do that today. There is a game going on right now over in London town. The Jets in a one-score game despite playing terrible football. That's going on, but there's a whole lot more. Let's get into the big picture.
The big picture.
And Aaron Rodgers goes down to a sack deep in his own territory. That sounds about Jets. All right, so here's the lay of the land. There are a couple of games out there with mild weather concerns, nothing too crazy. I would say the biggest one is in Jacksonville, the Colts. A little bit rain. A little bit wind, also a little windy in Chicago, and maybe some thunderstorms for Pittsburgh. I don't think that one's going to have a major effect. Might delay the game. But as far as who's in, who's out, the lay of the land, you got my league of record quarterback, Anthony Richardson. He's out because, of course, so Gino will be in for me at running back. Jonathan Taylor's out. There's going to be a lot of Trey Sermon questions. I see him in the chat right now, so we will get you there. Likewise, Joe Mixon and Dameon Pierce both out, meaning can you Cam Akers again? Can you stomach doing it again? You probably can. For the Steelers, you have the tandem there, Jaylen Warren and Cordero Patterson out. Let me tell you about a man named Aaron Shampklin. Shampklin? I don't know. I've never heard of him until this morning. Harvard graduate, was just a substitute teacher. Now he's in the NFL. He will be a little bit involved for the Steelers, so if you're in a situation like I am in one dynasty league where there's literally no running back to start, I promise Aaron Shampklin is on your waivers. Search him out. Nick Chubb is out. Zamir White is out. So can you start Alexander Madison? The platforms do allow it. Probably shouldn't. Brian Robinson in. That was a little surprising for me this week. Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler have both looked outstanding this season on a per-touch basis. Not a great matchup. Not really excited about either. Raheem Mostert is back. Tua is not, so it is irrelevant. Don't play him. Tyler Bidet got washed away, placed on IR. Devin Singletary in the afternoon game is not expected to play. Clyde Edwards-Helaire not expected to start this week despite being activated. So Mike gets the W on that one on a slow start. That means Kareem Hunt looking like a much better play, who was actually, if you didn't watch the game, he was pretty good last week. At the wide receiver position, Devontae Adams is out this week. It was reported that he could play next week. So the race to will he Raiders again is on. I think most people are hoping he does not Raiders again, but TBD. Malik Neighbors is out with the concussion. Here's a fun one. Romeo Doubs is out. Self-imposed suspension. He didn't show up to practice. I think he's unhappy with his role, which is shocking because his role is on the field every snap. I don't know, maybe earn them targets, Romeo. Christian Watson also out with the injury. So Dontavian Wicks, that is the start of the week. That is the one where everyone dumps Fab. Everything is lined up for him. I mean, his opportunity is through the roof. The matchup is perfect. Every time he's gotten the opportunity, he's been great. Everyone spent money on him, and everyone is going to start him. You know what happens when that happens. They fail. They are the bust of the week. I'm going to call it right now. Not going to be a bust. I will start him. I'm going to be confident. And like I told you earlier, we are getting everything right today. So book it. Let's see. Other wide receivers of note, Noah Brown out, Khalil Shakir out, KJ Osborne out, Brandon Cooks on the IR, and Kendrick Bourne is in. Over at tight end, you have Evan Ingram still out. That pre-warm-up hammy has been a problem. Taysom Hill broke his ribs. He will be out, I'm guessing, for a little while. Michael Mayer is also out, so Brock Bowers, even more opportunity. David Njoku, we're back, baby. He is in. I think people will have a question of whether or not you should start him first week back. You probably should because tight ends suck. George Kittle and Trey McBride, both with some hurt ribs, expected to play in the same game against each other. I have seen so many Trey McBride versus Tucker Kraft questions. Like when I was in the chat, that was all it was, Josh. It was like, I don't know if it was one person spamming it over and over, but I saw that question like 100 times. So I will refuse to answer that today. And then Luke Musgrave, game time decision. That'll be a Tucker Kraft thing. So now it's time. We're going to see if the computer is all warmed up. How's it looking over there, Papa Josh? All right, computer is ready to go. Let's see who's hot.
He's so hot right now.
All right, Papa Josh, what do you got? Whoa, Sam Darnold going deep to nobody. That's the update on the Jets Vikings game. All right, Papa Josh, back to you.
You mentioned it. Dontavian Wicks is the man of the morning here. The first one we're going to go with is Dontavian Wicks or Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, come on. You start with that one? That is really tough. Those are two of our starts of the week. I've got Brian Thomas Jr. as a start of the week. I think he's a good play. Dontavian Wicks also should be a really, really good play. If I had to make the decision between them, I'm going to put in Dontavian Wicks. The opportunity is there. The matchup is there. There's no weather concerns. I'm not overly concerned. I'm not like saying the weather is going to be so bad in Jacksonville that they can't throw the ball, but there should be some rain, some wind. It's not in a dome. So that's like a tiebreaker for me. I'm going to put Wicks in over Brian Thomas, who is awesome and been great. Both are good plays. Who else you got, Josh?
All right, well, staying on this Dontavian Wicks thing, Dontavian Wicks or Terry McLaurin?
That one is an easier Dontavian Wicks for me. Terry McLaurin has had a touchdown in back-to-back games, great, but they played really bad teams. Now they're playing against the Browns, and we're going to see what the Washington Commanders are made of. This is a much better defense than what they've been playing, and you've got like 2 games to start the season where Terry McLaurin was did he even get like 25 receiving yards? So he does not have a high floor despite being a great player and the number 1 target for the number 1 quarterback in fantasy right now. So I will go Wicks. I feel like I'm gonna go Wicks on all these questions here if they're debatable.
All right, well let's make it a little tougher here. Malik Neighbors is out.
I will take then I will definitely go Wicks.
Wan'Dale Robinson or Dontavian Wicks?
I'm confused. I thought you said tougher.
Oh.
Wan'Dale Robinson is not a good football player. He does have one superpower, which is pretty impressive. Like near the line of scrimmage, he can make guys not cover him. And so he will get the targets. He will get the ball thrown his way. If you're in a full PPR, he's an okay play. He's in my DraftKings lineup. But how many yards does he end the game with? More or less than 0? I don't know. So, yeah, that's a Wicks to me.
All right. Well, Dontavian Wicks across the board then. All right, let's move to the running back position. Kareem Hunt or Trey Sermon?
Yeah, Trey Sermon's going to be a big question mark this week. That's another waiver wire pickup. You picked him up, and Jonathan Taylor's out. Things look good. The Jags defense is not a tough matchup, but I'm going to go Kareem Hunt here. Like I said, he was over 5 yards a carry, looked good, got the work, and with Clyde Edwards-Helaire not expected to be in this game, I mean, I think you're going to see pretty much close to workhorse usage for that team. They need him, and he knows the system. He's been great with them. I actually think Kareem Hunt might be like a thing rest of season because I don't expect Pacheco to be back for our fantasy football season. The Chiefs are wanting to win a Super Bowl and put that back to back to back, and so they're going to make sure he's ready for the playoffs. And by the time that comes around, we're toast. So yeah, I think Kareem Hunt is a good play, probably rest of season.
All right, another one with Trey Sermon, Jerome Ford or Trey Sermon.
Okay, so we're getting closer, warmer, hotter, but I'm still going to lean Jerome Ford. The Washington Commanders' defense is not great. Both of these have a good matchup. The Jags' defense isn't great for Trey Sermon either. But Jerome Ford's been getting it done. We know his utilization. He's pretty much averaging like 15 opportunities a game, gets a couple targets, gets a ton of work on the ground other than the week 2 where, I think he was dealing with an injury. And they had Foreman handle the workload. He is the primary back here. Nick Chubb might have been activated in his 21-day window, but he's not going to play. Ford has a high floor. With Sermon, you go, we hope he is like the guy and he has all the work with Jonathan Taylor out. They don't really have a strong depth chart behind him. That might happen. He might be a really good play and have more volume than Ford. But we see it all the time where it's like, we grab the backup, we grab the replacement, the insurance running back, and then you go out there and it's a timeshare. And it's not him. And then they get on the goal line and someone else gets the ball. So I think Sermon's an okay play this week, like a flex option, but Ford is better to me.
Are you feeling warmed up now, Jason?
Yeah, why, you got a tough one?
I got a tough one for you.
Ain't no such thing.
All right. Cam Akers or Tyrone Tracy Jr.?
That's a really, really fun one. I know Andy has been tilting his face off over Cam Akers. He's got the Zach Charbonnet versus Cam Akers conundrum. Cam Akers has had 2 really bad weeks for fantasy football in a row. And it's one of those things where when you put him in your lineup a 3rd time in a row, it is a shame on me, and he goes out there and does doo-doo, and you're like, well, that's not fun. But the Buffalo Bills, who are already before this game, they're 32nd against the run. This is obviously Derrick Henry went nuclear on them. That's going to skew it a little bit. But they've lost their defense. If you go look at the inactives, I don't have enough time because we're going to wrap this up in like 20 minutes. I can't read you the list of Buffalo Bills defenders that are missing. So this game is, in the Texans' dome. I feel confident that Cam Akers is an okay play. Tyrone Tracy, he's going to get the start and probably the bulk of the work because Devin Singletary is not expected to play. But I don't think he's good. I believe so far on the season, Tyrone Tracy's longest rush is 6 yards. And so he'll get some work in the passing game, and then you're praying for a touchdown. But there's going to be with Malik Neighbors out. Oh man, who's going to want to watch that Giants game? I mean, what are they going to? It's kind of like when you lose Tua for the Dolphins, and all of a sudden the offense just doesn't work, and you've got great options. You got Tyreek Hill, and you're like, can I start him? I don't know. It's not working out well. Devon Achane, same thing. So Tyrone Tracy with the Giants offense. I mean, look, don't hear what I'm not saying. I am starting Tyrone Tracy because I have been ravaged by injuries and bye weeks this week. So I had to scoop him up off the waiver wire. He's in my lineup, but I wish he wasn't. Next question.
We're moving to the quarterbacks. These guys have both been looking pretty good. So Jordan Love or Jaden Daniels?
Oh, brother, that is tough. Those are both top 5 quarterbacks for me this week, so congratulations. Hopefully you don't make the wrong choice, but hopefully, actually, you do make the wrong choice, and it doesn't matter because both are good. And then you're like, oh, yay, I'm awesome. I've got 2 great players. Let's work through the process here. So you got the number 1 quarterback in Jaden Daniels. He's going to be at home. They are favored. All good signs for him. The rushing baseline is there. Jordan Love is down 2 wide receivers, has a much easier matchup against the Rams, but you could also see the running game working there, down receivers. So I think you're going to just stay in the flames, man. If you've had the Jaden Daniels experience, you're having fun. You know what I mean? Like, just keep having fun. Keep rolling them out there because hopefully it's basically RG3 times 2, and that's worth 6. So I would go Jaden.
All right. Geno Smith or Kyler Murray?
So that's really interesting. Kyler sucked, which is not a fair picture of the season. Like in week 2, he looked like the best quarterback I've ever seen. I mean, he was just wheeling and dealing, anticipation throws, everything was perfect. And you're like, this is the Kyler we remember. But 3 of his 4 games so far have not reached 15 fantasy points, which is not good. Geno's been on fire. I think the way that I look at this is Geno's playing that Giants matchup, and the game could get out of hand early where Kenneth Walker's going to steal the show, and Geno, I think, has a safe floor, but I don't know how Geno ever gets like a 30-point game. You know what I mean? Like, because if he goes out there and throws 2 early touchdowns and he's looking like he's going to have a 30-point game, they're probably going to run the ball. So if you need a big explosive game, that's where I would go Kyler. So look at your matchup because Kyler's going to be playing against the Niners. It's a tough matchup. They might shut him down, but he's going to be needed. He's going to be running the ball this week versus he didn't last week. So I do think the floor is higher with Geno. He's been great, and I don't think the Giants are going to completely shut him down, but he doesn't have a ceiling. So if your matchup's tough, Kyler.
All right, let's move to the tight ends. Trey McBride expected to play later today, or Tucker Kraft.
Well, thankfully, they have the same window of time. So because if for some reason McBride goes out there in warm-ups and they decide to not activate him, you could pivot. So that's not a worry if Kraft – I love both these guys. Kraft with the 2 wide receivers missing looks great. He's coming off of 7 targets. I do have Trey McBride a little bit higher. I just think Trey McBride is a better player. Trey McBride has not had a game so far with fewer than 6 targets. So I believe I'm going to play just the better player, and that will be Trey McBride. Obviously, if he's inactive, congratulations, you've got a good replacement.
All right, one more, and then let's get to the people, Jason. Colby Parkinson or Dalton Schultz?
Colby Parkinson or Dalton Schultz. All right, so you've got Colby Parkinson, the Rams. They need him. He had 7 targets this last week, was involved in the game plan. They did not amount to a ton. I think I lean that direction. Colby Parkinson is more necessary to the offense, so I'll go Colby there. And now I'll go to you at home, to you, the people. Let's start 'em, sit 'em.
Stardom, sit 'em.
All right, well, I love easy ones. Trey McBride or Juwan Johnson. That's an easy Trey McBride. Juwan Johnson is like a matchup play that the process should work, but, most of Juwan Johnson's games have been like 2 targets for nothing. All right, Alexander Madison. That's a great question. Madison, 5 question marks? Yes, that is the question. Man, he's just not good, but he does have a touchdown in 3 games. Zamir White is out. I think Madison is a flex option. I don't know what your other options are because you just said one guy. Let's see here. We got this is a fun one. I don't know how to answer this one, Josh. So the Reaper has Stephon Diggs or Dontavian Wicks. I mean, I want to play Wicks. I've been kind of down on Stephon Diggs. You got Tank Dell back. But I also think, I haven't given Diggs his credit yet. Diggs has been good. He's gotten touchdowns. He's looked around, around the end zone. He's a top 10 wide receiver right now, and revenge game. The Bills, they ship him out, and now I'm sure they're going to have a package for him to get a touchdown near the goal line. I think I'm going to go Diggs there. I think I'm gonna give the man the respect that I haven't given him so far. I think Diggs should be an okay play despite Tank Dell being back. You hope with the way the Bills defense is looking, you just can play all your Texans. We've got Tucker Kraft or David Njoku. That's where I'm going to go to Kraft. I think Njoku is, he's coming off an injury and he's not quite to the talent level that Trey McBride is, so I will go Kraft there. All 3 good options. We got Kirk or Wandale. Both should have enough targets. I'm gonna go Christian Kirk here. Christian Kirk has been pretty darn good the last 2 weeks. Evan Ingram isn't active. That will be where I start to hold my breath because they kind of deal with the same area of the field sometimes. We've seen them eat into each other's work. But with Evan Ingram out, Christian Kirk should have a good game against a hapless Colts defense. And like I said, there should be a little bit rain, a little bit wind, but it's not. It doesn't look to be some kind of terrible weather, can't throw the ball down the field. And Kirk's throws aren't always down the field, so he might be a valuable safety outlet. The Jets game, was that Brees laying out for a reception? I can't tell. I think so. No, they're on defense. Okay, I haven't been watching that game. I think it's an interception. Darnold. Darn it. All right, we got Akers or Sermon. We did that question. Akers, Trey Sermon or Ramondre. So this is Ramondre's really interesting this week because he's got the fumbleitis. I saw someone post the last time that someone fumbled 3 times in the first 3 games, and then was benched for it. This happened before. It was Todd Gurley. It was the year he became the #1 running back. Not going to happen here, but we do know Ramondre is being benched because of his fumbling problems. Coach Mayo has talked to him. They've got an agreement. I don't think he's not going to be benched. He'll play. He's just not the starter this week. I think Ramondre is still a fine startable player. I don't remember. Do you remember who the question was? It was Ramondre or someone else? Oh, Trey Sermon. I think I go Sermon there. I don't know how much work Ramondre is going to get. Is he going to be benched until the second half? Is he just getting the first drive off? Those are wildly different outcomes. So I'm gonna go with oh, this one breaks my heart. I don't like this one. Do I have to read it?
Yes.
That's stupid. It's Devon Achane or Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt off of waivers, off of his couch, or my guy Devon Achane, electric superstar, who unfortunately he's not built to take on defensive linemen head on, and they're just at the line of scrimmage now without Tua, no threat down the field. So yeah, I think I go Kareem Hunt here. That's sad. Tank Dell or Keenan Allen, that's an easy Tank Dell for me. Keenan has not done much. I mean, you can go back to like, he got a lot of targets week 1, but I don't think Keenan has it anymore. Tank Dell. C.J. Stroud was talking, I don't know when it was. It was this week. It might have been yesterday. He was just talking about how it's his job to get Tank Dell more involved. He thinks he's one of the best wide receivers in the league, and he's looking forward to making sure he's in, a big part of the offense this week. So I think Tank Dell, it's a scary start because he hasn't been great yet, and he's coming off of an injury, but he is a startable asset. I mean, we're talking about a lot of names this week that I would start Tank Dell over a lot of people. All right, Jason, you look stunning today. Brian, you're right. And thank you. Let's see. What else we got? What else? Tyreek questions. Oh, this one's gross. Tyreek Hill or Josh Downs. Oh, man. So gross. We're talking about maybe the greatest wide receiver in the NFL or a 25-pound slot wide receiver for the Colts. The Colts and the Jacksonville Jaguars, this does appear to be a game that is going to be high scoring. Joe Flacco is in, and Joe Flacco looked to Downs like crazy. Downs is like the type of player Joe Flacco works with. He's not going to be hanging out in the pocket for 5 seconds and extending plays and looking deep down the field on the reg. Flacco's going to go back, hit his third, hit his fifth step drop, and unload to the guy that is where he's supposed to be. I think Josh Downs is a good play with Flacco. Can you play him over Tyreek? All right. I hate to say this. If this was my team, you got to make the choice for yourself because losing with a big game from Tyreek on your bench will feel stupid. I will put Josh Downs on my team starting ahead of Tyreek Hill. I think one is a good play this week. I think one is a bad play most weeks until Tua gets back. Tyreek will have a game. If there's 4 weeks without Tua, I think he'll have one big game. But the other 3 are going to be ones that just, it's a bust week. It's like, he had 4 fantasy points. So I'm sorry, everybody, for bringing that question here. That wasn't fair of me. Oh, here's one. DK Metcalf or Dontavian Wicks. Now I can keep going away from Wicks. I think we found kind of where I'm not starting Wicks over great players. I think if you've got those flex, those middling, those good options, I'll start Wicks. DK Metcalf is great. There are the concerns of the game getting away from them if they handle the Giants easily and early. But if they do, it's pretty likely that DK Metcalf is part of the reason that they have that lead. So I'm not too worried about this. Kyler Murray or Justin Fields. Oh, that's Breece Hall getting near the end zone. Come on, Jets. Give me a Breece touchdown, baby. What was the question I asked? What was it? Oh, it was Justin Fields, Kyler Murray. That's an easy Justin Fields for me. The Dallas Cowboys, that game's going to be fun. I worry about Kyler right now. I feel like I'm starting Kyler in most situations. He's a top 12 quarterback. I think he's my quarterback 8 this week. That being said, he's shown some warts. I mean, he hasn't looked great. Didn't run much last week, so I have some concerns. Fields has looked better and better in the passing game. I think they're going to unlock his rushing more as they get him familiar in the system. And we have Garrett Wilson down at like the 2-yard line, 3rd and goal. Give it to Breece. Give the ball to Breece Hall. If Braylon Allen comes on here, I'm going to melt, and that will be the end of our show today. Let's take 2 more questions here. We're hitting the 9:30 timeline. Who's in the game? Is it Braylon Allen or is it it's Braylon Allen? It's Braylon Allen. Of course it is. Of course. I mean, and it makes sense. That's the worst part is Braylon Allen is the big-bodied, he's passing, dropping back to pass. Aaron Rodgers looking, tell me a flag. A flag in the end zone. Let's take Braylon out, put Breece back in. All right, Dowdle or Stevenson? Oh, gosh. Gross. That would be an easy Stevenson for me. Dowdle's the starter for the Cowboys, But the Pittsburgh Steelers defense is as good as it gets in the NFL. I mean, they've had an easy schedule so far, so maybe they're not as otherworldly as they've looked, but you can't blame them for – I mean, they've looked great. They did give up some points to Flacco last week, and I'm sure they're going to give up some points to Dak. But will they give them up to Dowdle? I doubtle it, so I will go Ramondre Stevenson. Swish. All right, let's see here. First and goal. Empty backfield for the Jets. Why are you going empty backfield? I mean, it's the Vikings. They're a tough run D. Aaron Rodgers has all day to throw and easily finds Garrett Wilson for the touchdown. All right. Look at that. Fantasy football relevant players getting touchdowns. That's what we love to see. You get one from Aaron Rodgers. That'll probably bring him out of negative points. He's had a couple of turnovers. And Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson's having himself a game. That's great. All right. I guess we got one more question before we wrap this thing up. Don't forget, everybody, when I leave, I'm going to go work on my rankings, and we all are doing that. Our Start Sit tool is on the website. You can go and use that. If you didn't get your question answered here, just go to thefantasyfootballers.com. If you go to jointhefoot.com, join us, become a member of the Foot Clan. All of our premium tools are there. They are awesome. The Start Sit tool gets unlocked further. Through the weeks, you got the waiver wire tool. You've got an actual tool to help optimize your roster. Look for spot starts across all your leagues. If you're on ESPN or Yahoo or Sleeper, you can import them. It's a great tool we're working on. Check that out at jointhefoot.com. But the final question of the day. Well, that's too easy. Cam Akers or Tank Bigsby is clearly Cam Akers. I will go with another one. I'm trying to look for one. Oh, all right. Here's we'll leave on this one because I want to say the answer. Eric All Jr., who is the rookie tight end who's coming on hot for the Bengals. He's had 4 targets in the last 3 games. Or Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, back-to-back gooses. Hard to start Mark Andrews. I will start Mark Andrews. And he will have a better game than Eric All Jr. this week. Since we're getting it all right today, congratulations. I hope that helps. Again, check out jointhefoot.com. Join us on this ride. Best of luck, everyone. I hope that you win, and not just win, but dominate your opponents. And when you do, make sure you send them gifts. Make sure you text them. Make sure you let them know how great you are and how stinky like doo-doo they are. It's been a pleasure. Next week, Andy will be here. Go win your games, and join us tomorrow for the podcast as we commiserate or rejoice together. Goodbye.